Now, welcome to section 6. Now, in this section, we'll be discussing develop schedule. And in this section, we'll explore the develop schedule process, which is a critical step in project schedule management. Now, developing a realistic project schedule involves analyzing all project activities, their dependencies, and resource constraints to create a feasible timeline. All right. So you've sequenced the activities and you've estimated the duration for each activities. Now it's time to develop the schedule for each of the activities. Now, to do this, you have to analyze the activities. All right. You have to analyze their dependencies and also whatever resource constraints that each of those activities have need to be analyzed. And then at the end of the day, you put all this information together to create a feasible timeline for all the activities in the project. Okay. Now, by the end of this section, you should be able to understand the purpose and importance of the develop schedule process. You should be able to identify the inputs, tools and techniques, as well as the output of this process. All right. And then also we are going to learn how to create a project schedule using various scheduling techniques. Okay. So, having got that, let's jump right into the meat of the matter. Now, what is the purpose of the develop schedule process? The purpose of this process is to help us focus on creating a project schedule that optimizes resource utilization and minimizes project duration while considering constraints. All right. So the develop schedule process helps us to focus on creating a project schedule that actually attenuates resource utilization. All right. It focuses on resource utilization and helps us to minimize the project duration. We want to complete our project within the shortest time possible. Okay. So how do we maximize the way we utilize our resources? Okay. Now, for every competent project manager wants to, shorten the duration or shorten the time it takes to complete his or her project. At the same time, we also want to optimize the use of our resources. We want to use our resources properly and effectively, avoid waste. Okay, so that's what this the purpose of this process is all about. It helps us to focus on creating a project schedule that optimizes resource utilization. Okay, we want to be effective in the utilization of our resources, and also want to minimize the duration of our project. All right, while also putting into consideration the constraints in our project. Okay. So what are the inputs in the develop schedule process? Firstly, we have the project management plan. This contains schedule management details. All right. So from those details, we should be able to go about developing our schedule. Project documents. This includes activity attributes, resource calendars, and risk registers. So all this information will come handy in helping us develop our schedule. Enterprise environmental factors. These are external influences on schedule development. Okay, external influences. Also, we have organizational process assets, and this includes historical information, scheduling methodology, and templates. Now let's look at the tools and techniques in this process. First, we have expert judgment. Now, as a project manager, you have to seek input from knowledgeable individuals. Inputs that can help you to become more effective in your in developing a schedule for this particular project. Analogous estimating. This includes using historical data or similar past projects for estimation. Okay, it's called analogous. You look at those projects that have been completed in the past that are similar to the one you're currently handling, okay, and see what you can extract from that could be relevant or useful in this particular project. Parametric estimating. This involves applying statistical relationships to estimate durations. 3-point estimating. This involves incorporating optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely estimates for a more accurate assessment. Okay? Alright, so what are the outputs that we expect from the developed schedule? Firstly, we have activity duration estimates. This includes the time frames for completing each activity. So this gives us a detailed estimate of each of the activity. Alright, detailed estimate of the time for completing each of the activities. Basis of estimates. Documentation explaining the basis for the duration estimate. Project document updates. Updates to the activity attributes and resource calendars. Okay? So what are the key takeaways from the developed schedule? Now, the developed schedule is a pivotal process within project management that focuses on creating a detailed and comprehensive project schedule. It takes input from activity duration estimates, logical activity sequencing, and resource calendars to generate a timeline for project activities. This process uses various tools and techniques such as critical path analysis and schedule compression to ensure that the project schedule aligns with project objectives, constraints, and stakeholder expectation. Then the outcome is a project schedule that serves as a vital communication tool, helping the project team understand the sequence of work, deadlines, and resource allocation, and allows for effective project monitoring and control. Okay, so at the end of the day, what we'll have from the developed schedule is a process for proper communication. All right, effective communication. All right, so as a project manager, you'll be able to, at the end of the day, help the team understand the sequence of your work, or the work that the team has to do, the deadline, all right, and then also the resources that is required or that they have to complete each of the activity and the work, and then allows for effective project monitoring and control. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this section. See you in the next.